Hey everybody, Andy Hagerman here, co-founder of the Design Gym. In this video, I'm going to share with you the #1 collaboration tactic that we use with major companies like Marriott and Cisco and Netflix. And more importantly, I'm going to teach you how you can bring it to your team as soon as this afternoon. Let's go. So we always start by asking this one foundational question. Have you ever been in a meeting or a workshop or a conversation where folks are simultaneously having ideas and killing ideas? Of course, we've all been there and we all know how crappy it feels, right? The energy dips really quick. Pretty soon the quality of the ideas starts to really rapidly drop. And the next thing we know, everyone's kind of looking for their exit plan to get the heck out of that meeting. Now, typically in moments like that, what happens is we start writing it off as just the way that work is, right? We'll say, Jim's usually pretty grumpy, he's just showing up in a bad mood today. Or legal, they're not that creative of a team, so why did we even invite them to this meeting? But what's actually happening is it's a lot deeper than that. Each of us comes into a meeting or a conversation like that with our own default mindset of how we think and how we approach problem solving. And the problem is that when our mindsets for problem solving aren't aligned, we start to collide with each other, right? Jim might be thinking, hey, I need to figure out the cheapest way to do this. Or legal might be saying, we need to find the most feasible way to do this without getting sued. While maybe someone else in the room is really thinking about pushing the limits of creating something new or innovative or inventive. All of us are right, but we're all coming from different vantage points and we haven't actually aligned on what those vantage points or what those mindsets are. So let me put it another way. Sometimes we'll use an example like this, or we'll throw a big ridiculous idea out on the table. This one is probably a pretty good one actually, but something like, hey, let's put some airplane seats on the wings of airplanes. So one person might look at that and say, oh my gosh, that's amazing, right? What the Instagram pictures I could get from that. Or, man, I love adventure. That would be the perfect seat for me. The airline could totally upsell me on an adventure seat like that. Other folks in the room, they might look at that and say, that's ridiculous. What a legal nightmare. My gosh, but it's gonna mess up my hair. It's gonna be so cold. We won't be able to get the bar card out there. There's so many things wrong with this idea, right? So even with one simple idea like that, you can start to see both folks are right? You would get some amazing pictures up there and it would be a legal nightmare. But until we've actually acknowledged those different ways of seeing a problem, we just butt heads. So what do we do about it? That's where this tool, this #1 collaboration tactic starts to come to play for us, and it really changes the face of how teams use this. And it really bakes down to 3 primary collaboration mindsets: open, explore, and close. It's not rocket science, right? Really simple language intentionally, because we want to have words that a full team can align around really quickly so that you know if you're in the right place with your teammates at the right time. All right, so open, explore, close. Open mindset, as you might imagine, this is about divergent thinking. It's about going wide, it's about putting options on the table and asking the question of what's possible. All right, this is where you might hear words like yes and, or I like that, how about we try this, or that makes me think of this other idea, right? It's all about being generative and asking the art of what's possible. All right, at the end of that process, you have closed thinking. As you might imagine, this is for convergent thinking. This is where you hear phrases like, no, that would never work. We don't have the budget. We've tried that before. We've learned this lesson, right? Those are all questions that narrow the scope of what's possible and help us to prioritize so that we can move forward, all right? So if open thinking is about diverging, closed thinking is about converging, in the middle we've got this mindset of explore, all right? So open, explore, close. Explore is all about emergent thinking, and the question that we like to use there is, what if, right? What if this was possible? Or what if I combined my idea with Jim's idea, with legal's idea? What bigger idea could it help us form, right? And when you start to stack these things up, it helps people understand what mindset they should be in at what given time. So if you've got someone or a team who's really driven by constraints, or they've been in the organization for a while, or they've seen every other idea fail and they know the reasons why, they are just trying to accelerate the rest of the team's understanding of what we might be up against, all right? So they need that moment to close, but as long as you tell them that they're gonna get that chance, but we need to open first, all of a sudden it unlocks whole new worlds of potential because you're letting them know that we're gonna acknowledge their way of thinking if they can meet us on the other side first. Vice versa, we've got a lot of other folks that are the big ideators, right? The creative thinkers. They're always got their sketchbook in their back pocket writing down new ways of thinking or new ideas. Those folks hate to close most of the time, right? They don't want to prioritize and make a decision. So you're gonna find those folks wanting to generate more and more ideas and more options right up until the last minute. So for those folks, you need to understand that, hey, we're gonna spend a lot of time opening, but we will have to close at some point. We're gonna have to make a decision. All right. Now, the number one thing to remember in all this is that open and close don't mix. So that's when we find ourselves in meetings and people are both trying to open and close at the same time, right? Having ideas, killing ideas, right? So you as a leader and a facilitator, all you need to do is actually set that roadmap for folks so they know how to best show up at what moment in the collaboration. So I want to share 3 specific ways in how you can use this in your everyday work. First, and the easiest one, is take a look at your calendar, find the next meeting where you're going to have multiple folks coming together to problem solve or brainstorm or talk through a challenge together, and bring this language into it. All right, so quite literally, if you have a 1-hour meeting, think about splitting it into thirds. First 20 minutes is for opening, second 20 minutes is for exploring, third 20 minutes is for closing. All right, introduce people to that language, show them the framework of how it works, and then actually facilitate them through that, all right? You'll be amazed at how that arc of collaboration will feel over the hour, where you'll have time to generate and think big, but you'll also get to a place where you can make a decision on the back end, all right? The second most important way that we find a lot of folks using this is actually prompting it in your meeting invites, all right? So not all meetings need to go through open, explore, and close. So when we're leading a project or when we're even having a meeting internally, we'll actually label that meeting as an open meeting, an explore meeting, or a close meeting, all right? What this does is it helps prime folks' brainwaves for before they come into that meeting. They know how they can best show up in that meeting, and they're already starting to think about that before they get there. So we might say, hey team, let's bring everyone together. We want to spend an hour thinking about digital marketing strategy, and it's going to be purely an open meeting. So bring your best ideas, think big, leave all your constraints at the door. We'll have a meeting next week to close. Or vice versa, hey team, we've been thinking about this topic for a couple weeks now. Today's our moment to close. So come in thinking about what you want to prioritize to move forward and why. And we're going to spend our hour thinking about that. And we want to walk out with our top 3 solutions to test next week. The other tactic that we think a lot about is when asking for feedback. So this is where it plays into nice kind of one-on-one conversations or back and forth with your team. So say you've had the team working on a project for a while. One question that I always like to ask my team is, what type of feedback are we looking for in this meeting? All right. Now my team, since we have this language embedded in our work, the team will look back to me and say, well, Andy, we've been working on this for 4 days. We know you're an opener. We know you're gonna try and throw 100 more ideas at us. Not today. Today is all about closing, so help us put the final tweaks on this. Look at these 2 or 3 specific areas, but we're not interested in your big newfound ideas at this point. So we want to ship it, so let's close. That helps me give better feedback and trust my team and the work that they've done. And it also helps check my foundations at the door. I am a natural opener, so knowing that that's not the best muscle to bring to the table at that moment can be really helpful for my team. All right, so 3 easy ways to do this. Next meeting on your calendar, try splitting it into thirds, open, explore, close. See how that gets you to the end point a little bit better. Option number 2 is actually start to prime some of your meeting participants by letting them know in advance. So it's an open meeting or a closed meeting. And then third, try to bring it into some of your feedback moments so you can better align with your team on what mindset you can bring to the conversation to best help them move forward. Open, explore, close. It's a really simple tool. Highly encourage you to give it a try. There's lots of ways to implement it. So if you like this tool, we encourage you to put it into practice. And then let us know. Write back, respond to our email, hello@thedesignGym.com. Let us know how you tested it, what challenges you came up with, what worked, what didn't, questions you've got. We're always here to provide whatever knowledge we can. And again, this is the foundation of all good innovation collaboration, and we hope you enjoy it. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.